Will you pray with me? God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be good before you. Amen. Amen. Before I begin, I do want to say how grateful I am for the words we just heard from these two remarkable young people, our Pearl Tiffany Scholarship recipients. They have been blessings to this church through their presence, through their gifts, questions, hopes, and the ways they have already helped shape this community. Today, we do not simply congratulate them, we send them forward with our blessings. That word blessing is where I want to linger for just a couple of short minutes. As I read and reread today's psalm, one phrase kept coming to mind, though it's not in the psalm, and that phrase is count your blessings. And I don't mean that sentimentally, as if gratitude requires us to ignore our pain. I mean, learning to recognize grace when grace comes unexpectedly and often through other people. Some of you have heard parts of this story, but never the whole thing in its entirety in a single reflection, so I'll just make it very brief. Years ago, my father and I were on pilgrimage in the Holy Land, and while we were there, an argument broke out among the priests who oversee the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. The police came, broke up the fight between the priests, and the site was shut down and remained closed for the rest of the day. At one point, when we were standing outside of the chapel, my dad pulled me aside and put a hand on my shoulder and said, "Son, the fastest way to become an atheist is to visit holy sites." Between the arguments like this one that we witnessed, the crowds, the shoving tourists, and the feeling of being unwelcome, I totally understood what he meant. But the Spirit has a way of creeping in anyway, doesn't it? More than once, I rushed through one of these holy sites only to witness some quiet, sacred moment between friends that they went on to tell other people about. A fellow pilgrim who was with us paraphrased a familiar line: "Life is not counted by the breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away." Perhaps counting blessings means learning to notice those moments when wonder breaks through and our hearts crack open. On the final full day of our trip, weather forced us to change our plans. As a result, we unexpectedly found ourselves at the tomb the tradition tells us is the one from which Lazarus was raised. We gathered in this dark chamber, and one of our leaders invited us to open our pilgrim songbooks to Psalm 127, which is the psalm that we both read and will sing today. And then the leader said, "As we pause in this moment, we remember that Jesus raised a friend whom he loved." The leader went on to say, "We also note the special nature of this psalm, which was written by Ken for his son Ned on March 22nd, 2006, the day before his 30th birthday." Now, I was stunned. The context of this moment matters. My father and I stood in a place commemorating resurrection, and we were about to sing a song he had written for the birthday after a debilitating accident that nearly claimed my life, an accident that not only left my body broken, but my spirit shattered as well. We sang to the tune of Ode to Joy, Joyful is our home with children, each one family, each one friend, all as symbols of your kinship, signs of life that know no end. And as we sang, that whole difficult season came back to me in the years after my accident. Honestly, I am here to tell you, in the years after that accident, I stopped caring. But slowly, something cracked open. I accepted the love of my parents and friends and fellow students in seminary, and they shared with me words of truth and hope. And I am here to tell you that somewhere along the way, I had my own resurrection experience. I have come to believe that new life rarely comes from within us alone. It comes through community, family, friendships, and the people who continue speaking our name when we have forgotten how to answer. In John's Gospel, Jesus weeps for Lazarus. He stands outside the tomb of his friend and calls, "Lazarus, come out!" In the dark crypt, we sang my father's psalm, which we're about to sing together, written just months after my body and my spirit had been broken. It was as if my dad stood in that same place and called, "Ned, come out. Come out from the broken place. Come out from the crushing shame. Come out and live your life once more." And from that empty, echoing chamber, I heard his words. I could answer, "Here I am." Have you ever had a moment like that? If not, I pray you do. That's what it means, I think, to count our blessings, not to deny the tombs or pretend faith protects us from struggle, but to notice the voices that call us back to life. A hand extended, a hymn sung, a meal shared, a friend who stays, a parent who weeps, the church that says, "You are not just worth something, you're worth everything. You're worth everything." And that brings me back to these two young women. Today we count them among our blessings, amen? We remember that a scholarship is more than a check. It is a blessing made visible. It is this church saying, "We believe you. We are proud of you. We have seen God's light in you. And you do not go alone." Shortly, we'll sing the hymn that my father arranged from Psalm 127. We will sing of homes made joyful, of children who show forth blessing, and of life that knows no end. And as we sing, may we count our blessings, see our ribbons, tie our ribbons, not only as what has gone right, but as the grace that has carried us through our challenges. To our scholarship recipients, thank you. Thank you for being blessings and for letting this church be a part of your story. And as you step into what comes next, may you go with courage, wonder, humility, joy, and the deep assurance that you are loved by God and loved by us. We send you to school with our blessings and trust that wherever you go, you will continue to be living blessings. Amen.
Amen.